This is Straight Talk with Enlightened Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the Preacher Man.
Well, welcome to Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man. Around the world with information. Don't forget to like us. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to make comments about us and Straight Talk MSC. All right? Well, tonight, Shanan is not with us again tonight. He's dealing with other situations, but it may come on. He may come on tonight. I don't know. Today, I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, you know Shanan is just Shanan. But anyway, the night we're going to have some very interesting topics tonight. And it's going to be really talking about what's going on with our country. And, you know, we talked to you about Project 2025. And many people just didn't listen. They just didn't believe that these things that they're seeing today would be happening in the world, in our country. You know, we had said is that Donald Trump said, before he was president of the United States, he was going to change the Constitution. Now, they're doing everything to change the Constitution and using the courts and the court system to help them change their Constitution to be what they want it to be. Because, you know, lawyers interpret the law based on what the Constitution says, right? Okay, so we'll be talking about that, and we'll be hearing from Alan Schiff, who is a senator, who's a part of the impeachment committee for Donald Trump. And now he's a U.S. Senator out of California. And we'll be hearing from another representative, a congressperson, who's talking about what's really going on and how the Democrats must go head on and be like the Republicans and talk that talk to let people know what's really, really, really going on. Don't you go nowhere. We'll be back on the other side after Miss C with her information. Miss C, come on and bring it, Miss C. Bring that information for us right now. Come on, Miss C.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast or more. Hope everyone out there is doing well. The Metropolitan Atlanta Baptist Ministers Union invites you to their 140th anniversary celebration going on every Tuesday in March at 11 a.m. The guest speakers respectively include Dr. Lee Franklin, Dr. Ken Jelks, Dr. Willie Lawson, and Dr. Eddie Jones. The celebration will be held at First Corinth Missionary Baptist Church, 2165 Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway in Northwest Atlanta. Lunch will be served on March 25th when the guest speaker will be the pastor, Dr. Eddie Jones. All right. The Deliverance of Faith House of Miracles wants you to join them for the 31st pastoral anniversary of Apostle Bessie Arnold. That's going on every Sunday in March at 3:30 p.m. The guest speakers respectively include Apostle Doris Kendrick, Bishop Ray Neal, my good friend, Apostle Felicia Daniel, Apostle Roseanne Thomas, and Chief Apostle K.J. Tart. Now, there's also going to be a pastoral appreciation and birthday dinner held in honor of Apostle Bessie Arnold on March the 8th at 4 p.m. All of these events will take place at Greater Works Deliverance Ministries, 1730 Hollywood Road in Northwest Atlanta. Now, if you need more information, call 404-904-9490. All right. Now, the Hendricks sisters celebrate their 17th anniversary on Sunday, March 9th at 4 p.m. at the Solid Rock Church Sanctuary. That's at 1915 Rock Cut Place in Conley, Georgia. The host will be none other than another good friend of mine, Minister Eli Smith of WIGO Radio. The special guests include the Holloway and Drake Gospel Singers of Camp Hill, Alabama, along with a full roster of gospel greats. You're going to enjoy that. Listen, before we leave, there are 4 things I'd like for you to do. I'd like for you to like us. I'd like for you to subscribe to us. And leave comments. Let us know how we're doing. We would be so appreciative. And 4, share us. Don't keep Straight Talk News to yourself. Let everybody know about Straight Talk News. Hey, we're here to stay. And listen, I want to, also, if you would like for us to announce your event, just email it to us at straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. That's straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. And I want to thank you for tuning in to Straight Talk News, and we welcome you each and every week to hear good conversation and good news, okay? Now, you take care. Bye now.
All right. Thank you, Miss C, for your news and information. And if you would join in on some of these events that we're talking about, we'd appreciate it. And you can send your information to Miss C at straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. 1362@gmail.com. If you have comments about what we're talking about, if you have an interest in what we're talking about, we'd love to hear from you. You can send that same comment to straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. All right, because we want to hear your opinion on what you feel about what's going on in our country, the United States of America, the land of the free, the land of the brave, and liberty and justice for all. I don't know if that's the truth anymore, or has it ever been the truth. Well, we're going to hear from U.S. Senator Alan Schiff, who is going to tell you something that I didn't know, and most of us don't know. He's going to bring us some information about what has just happened. Stay tuned. Don't go nowhere. And after him, we'll have Representative Robert Garcia, who is on the Dole Committee, subcommittee, that's dealing with the thing that, the other president, Elon Musk, is doing in terms of all of these jobs and all of these firing. And we're going to be talking about that after this this break from these individuals. Going to be talking to us about what's really, really going on up there in D.C. We need to know. We need to know. We need to pray, but we also need to stand up and fight. All right. Be back on the other side after Representative Schiff and also Representative Robert Garcia. All right.
Hey, it's Adam Schiff with another episode of what I call In Case You Missed It. Another blizzard of a week, but here's something you may have missed. This guy was fired. Now, if you're looking at his photo and you're thinking to yourself, I have no idea who the hell that guy is, you're like 99.9999% of the American people. I could not have picked this guy out of a lineup a week or two ago either. This guy is named David Heidema. David Heidema was the head of the Office of Government Ethics, OGE. Now, I know you're thinking, OGE, OGE, is that like Doge? No, totally different animal. This is an agency that actually oversees ethics in the executive branch. Yes, big job. All the more important job when you've got a bunch of people in the administration like this guy. That guy you recognize, Elon Musk. Yeah, this guy has all kinds of government contracts, interests, etc. And the problem is federal law prevents you from participating in government decisions if you have a personal financial stake in those decisions and their outcome. See this law? 18 U.S.C. Section 208 makes it a crime to participate in those decisions if you have a financial interest. Well, one of the people that's supposed to determine whether Elon Musk is violating that provision is the guy they just fired. Now, I wrote to this guy before he was fired asking about Elon Musk's plain conflicts of interest. And then he was fired. I'm not going to get an answer from David Heidema to my question. And here's the problem. That whole office has been decapitated. And why? Because they don't want anyone of independence in that office or anywhere else. It's the same reason they've fired all those inspector generals, because they want to run roughshod through these agencies. Elon and his 20-somethings taking your private data, influencing our government decisions to make Elon richer, to make Donald Trump and his buddies richer. That's what this is all about. So in case you missed it, they fired David Heidema, head of the Office of Government Ethics. So much for draining the swamp.
I want to hear why, but do you think that calling Elon Musk a dick is effective messaging for confronting what is a potentially irreversible transformation of the U.S. government?
Well, he is a dick. And I think that he's also harming the American public in an enormous way. And what I think is really important, and what the American public want, is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight.
I'm joined now by Congressman Robert Garcia. That was you during a hit with CNN, basically coming back to the whole civility police argument. You called Elon Musk a dick at a committee hearing. This is a guy who right now is pilfering the federal government, slashing funding for Medicaid, for folks with disabilities, for vital programs that offer HIV prevention, water, food for refugees, and on and on. I think it's a pretty accurate assessment. And yet, when you were questioned about this during your conversation on Legacy Media, the focus was, again, back on this sense of decorum. Can I have your response to that on kind of the misguided focus, the misplaced focus in the moment that we're in right now?
Yeah, I think calling Elon Musk a dick is pretty kind, actually, considering everything that he's done.
Right.
And I want to just go back one step. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is the chairperson of this committee, this DOJ committee, which is a complete joke and disaster of a committee. And she was literally showing pornography in just last year in the same oversight committee. And so I brought my own dick pic, which was a picture of Elon Musk. And let's be really clear what he's doing. I mean, this idea that we're going to somehow now police ourselves when the other side will throw everything in the kitchen sink at the country, at working class people, at Democrats, and we're supposed to sit back and kumbaya with them and be bipartisan, I think that is ridiculous. And I think what people are telling me and folks on the ground are saying is we need to actually match that energy. Now, we're going to be truthful, we're going to be honest, we're going to stand up for working class people, but we've got to match that fire with fire. I think that's really important.
Are you worried about the asymmetry that exists in the media, though, where Democrats have to be held to a certain standard, and yet Republicans barreled through that? I mean, that ship has already sailed years ago. So because Trump gets graded on the curve and the rest of the Republican Party gets graded on the curve, and yet Democrats are still held to this standard of decades ago, how do you think that asymmetry is going to play out in terms of our effectiveness and in terms of being able to hold the Republicans to account?
Well, I mean, I think that's exactly right. I mean, let's be really clear. The media treats essentially Donald Trump as some celebrity president. They allow him to get away with horrific things. They've normalized the kinds of things that he says. And then we at the police our own language. So it's completely, I think, this idea that the media is biased. The media is biased against Democrats and progressives and is absolutely generally in the tank for Donald Trump. And I think that what he has been able to do, he's a master communicator. I think people need to understand that he's a master communicator. He also happens to be a terrible person and a terrible president, but he understands the medium. And I think what we have to do as Democrats is pull some of that attention away that Donald Trump uses to then pass his horrible policies and shine the light on the horrible things he's doing and on our agenda of actually helping people. Taxes for middle-class people, helping students, supporting seniors, strengthening Social Security. Those are the things people care about. We've got to communicate better, though.
Congressman, what do you think Republicans would say if a Democratic president was in office right now and basically gave George Soros unfettered access to pilfer all of our federal agencies?
I mean insane. I mean, I think if Joe Biden or Barack Obama brought in the richest person on the planet, or George Soros or anyone else, and it just allowed them to do whatever they wanted with our information, they would be going ballistic. They'd probably be attacking the Capitol again multiple times. And so these folks are, besides being completely, in my opinion, insane in the way they're viewing the world, they are serious about destroying our institutions and our democracy. They want to fundamentally change not just the United States, but they want to change the world in the way they view it. Their view of the world, their view of our country is one where you take care of yourself and your family and screw everybody else. And that's a conservative principle that I just cannot support. I think what makes Democrats being progressive, I think the right way forward for us as a world and country is that we believe in taking care of those that need help the most. That government is in place to help people. And that's something that unfortunately we're not at right now in our country.
Right. The government is in place to help the people who need it most, not the people who need it least. And yet that's what we're seeing right now. To that point, this is a Republican Party that swept into office amid promises of lowering costs and rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse to restore some sense of fiscal responsibility back. And yet right now we're seeing that they're seeking to raise the debt ceiling by $4 trillion to make way for $4.5 trillion in tax cuts. Can I get your reaction to that in light of what was promised during the campaign?
Well, the reason why all of our agencies are being raided by Elon Musk, the reason why they're trying to cut $1 trillion or $2 trillion from agencies, from Medicaid, the Department of Education, which provides assistance to children with disabilities in their classrooms, why they're trying to eliminate foreign aid to starving families and children in other countries. Why are they doing this? Because they want to save money, save resources so they can package that all and then put together a tax plan that then benefits Elon Musk, his companies, and his billionaire friends. So this is all a way of just getting more money they can give to themselves. It's the largest redistribution of wealth fiasco that we've seen in the modern era of American politics. They are stealing the money of hardworking people and giving it to themselves. I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, that's not even just theoretical. We've seen contracts be doled out, defense contracts for SpaceX. We've seen contracts that just popped up in the news in the last 24 hours. I think it was $400 million for Teslas from the federal government. And so we have proof of this happening in real time. And so there's not even any plausible deniability for these folks anymore who are seeing, for example, that when you're seeking to cut the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which returned $21 billion to consumers who were defrauded by banks and financial institutions, by cutting USAID, which is 0.5% of the federal budget, not only offers us soft power benefits across the world, but does real humanitarian good, like delivering water and food, HIV prevention across the entire planet. All those have to be cut so that Elon can then get hundreds of millions of dollars for himself in the form of tax cuts or back to his own companies. And so does that ever, I guess for your Republican colleagues, does that ever come through that really what they're facilitating is just a big handout to the folks who most closely align themselves with Trump? Or is it just, look, Trump says jump, they say how high because God forbid they get on his wrong side and invite some type of primary that's bolstered by Trump and funded by Elon?
Yeah, I think it's both. I mean, I think Republicans at this point will do whatever Donald Trump wants them to do. I mean, that's clear.
Yeah.
He's breaking the law. He's signing unconstitutional laws and executive orders that are being challenged in the courts, but that they are supportive of and are in the tank. They're abdicating their responsibility of being members of Congress who are the actual piece of the government that actually funds the government and creates programs and agencies. They could care less about that now. And at the same time, I think most of this House majority is in bed with the billionaire class in this country. Right now, at this moment, we have to understand that it's the American people versus the billionaires. And the very, very rich in this country are trying everything they can to take more wealth from working people, from middle-class families, so they can continue to enrich themselves. And as they get richer, as Elon Musk has gotten only dramatically richer since Donald Trump became the president, what are they doing? They're buying more social media companies. Yeah. They want to buy more television stations. They want to buy more radio channels across the country. So they want to consolidate more and more power and more mass media and then remake them in their image. And we're at a very, I think, dangerous place. And people say, sometimes I'll get folks say, I think you're overreacting on this. I'm like, I'm not overreacting. Like, we're in a really bad spot. And people need to wake up right now that we fundamentally, if we don't fight really hard, we may never get the country back that we've all believed in, live in, and love so much.
And by the way, that's the sentiment that I hear from folks overwhelmingly on the outside who pay attention to this stuff and are recognizing it. And in fact, it's this sense of, it's not this bad. That's what frustrates people, I think, when our fears for what we're seeing play out in real time, right in front of our eyes, are kind of downplayed in deference to Republicans. And this idea that we have to keep conferring onto them goodwill and that they couldn't possibly do what we've already seen them say out loud that they're going to do. I mean, we couldn't possibly see them incite an insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. They wouldn't do that. We go to cocktail parties with these people. Is there a red line for your Republican colleagues as we continue to see power consolidated in the executive branch, as we continue to see someone like Mike Johnson say that, you know what, let's cast doubt on court rulings that basically serve as a bulwark against executive branch overreach. Is there a red line, even in private, from your Republican colleagues who say, okay, there is a point at which we can't just pay blind deference to Trump anymore?
I mean, it's scary, but I don't think so. If you're not willing to stand up and say that an attack and trying to overthrow an election was wrong, and try to recreate that history, if you're not willing to stand up and say, oh, by the way, yes, Donald Trump did lose that election, Joe Biden won it, these are just facts. I mean, basic facts. And if you're willing to lie in an obscene way to the American public and then try to recreate and rewrite history, I'm not sure there is a red line. Donald Trump has proven that he just stomps all over any red line or any norm that we've ever had. And I think that our party and Democrats in Congress need to be aggressive. One, in attacking the Republicans back, pushing back, and understanding that people on the ground, our constituents, they want to see us fight. Like, they do not want to see us working with Republicans or Elon Musk. You know, somehow we're going to find some savings, that's over.
Yeah.
We've got to push back really hard.
Well, that's the perfect place to leave off. Grateful for the sense of fight that you're showing, and for your time today.
Thank you.
Boy, a lot of powerful information shared there. I mean, they get rid of the gentleman that's over the ethics committee that deals with ethics and was dealing with the fact because Senator Schiff sent a letter requesting to know if this unethical what Elon Musk is doing, and the president is allowing him to do it. The man got contracts with the country, United States, and then he's going to be firing people. He's going to be firing people. I mean, really, even here in Atlanta, we have lost at CDC 1,000 employees in Atlanta, 1,300 CDC and 1,000 at the Veterans Administration. Wow. That's 2,300 people. Their goal is to get rid of 200,000 federal employees across the United States of America. Man, how many families will be affected in this country with high grocery price, with high medical price, with high rent, high house note? Everything is going up and up and up and up and up, and then people won't have jobs, right? How does the economy flow? How does money flow from people who have jobs, who can spend money to make money? So what we see now is they're not looking out for the least, the less, and the lost. They're looking out for themselves. And big corporation, big business, billionaires becoming trillionaires. That's what's happening. And here we stand here, can't even get food stamps. And here many people who need food stamps can't get food stamps. People who need health care can't get health care. All of these things that are needed for the people who are paying the taxes, the freight of the cost, they're suffering because of the decisions that are being made by those people that are in D.C. Now, we know that Mr. Trump said, as I said earlier, that he was going to do away with the Constitution. They're going around the Constitution, and they're going through the courts. The courts are saying, you can't do it, and he's still doing it, and he says, stop me, stop me, stop me. Well, stop you. The law's supposed to stop you. Well, the law could stop him when he had 34 federal charges, felony charges. It didn't stop him then, so I guess he feel like nothing can stop him, and nothing can stop what he's doing to look out for his billionaire, trillionaire friends. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in trouble. We are in trouble because votes do matter. Votes do matter. And who we elect on every letter, it matters. It matters in terms of who's going to be looking out for the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. And how are we going to make it? How many people are going to make it? We got people sleeping up on the bridges. We got people sleeping in cars. We got people doing all kinds of things. You got people committing criminal acts because they don't have jobs, or some because they don't have the money, the means to be able to do what they need to do for themselves and their family. Listen, we need for you, the American people, to wake up. They're talking about boycotting. If you know of a boycott, get in it. If there's a movement going on to send a message, a loud, clear message to the people in D.C., Get in it. Let's get involved. Don't stand still, stand to the sideline and complain about it. Do something about it. Get in this fight. John Lewis said, ain't nothing like good trouble. So we got to start making some what? Good trouble. This ain't been nothing but straight talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the preacher man. And listen, we'll be back with you next week right here with Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the preacher man, Ms. Waters, and hopefully Sam will be with us next week. But in the meantime, as Cynthia would say, in between time, may God bless you and heaven smile upon you, because this ain't been nothing but what? Straight Talk. Take us out of here, Hal.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fann at FANN922@Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the preacher.